This video contains strong adult language, may not be suitable for children or sensitive people. Boom boom.
Jalen Hurts is not that dude. Sorry, stand him all you want. He got benched for Tua in college. Tua Tagovailoa. Speaking of Jalen's, he may be gone, but just the thought of Jalen Reagor trying to field a basic punt has got to have you angry. I'm amazed Howie Roseman still has his job. You're gonna keep Doug Peterson until he openly tanked on the last day of the season in 2020. What a fucking joke. Go eat some horse shit. Hard to believe that this place is already 20 years old, and it's a huge upgrade to the vet, which was an absolute dump. I never realized this, but the canopies on the side are shaped like wings to help evoke the Eagles theme. And the stair sets are shaped like 9-volt batteries that the fans love to throw. Just kidding, the Link is a tough place to play, and the windy conditions make it even tougher.
I did not go in. I was not allowed in, so I was only on the outside. But I might go next year, so we'll see.
Swoop, there it is. The only mascot that throws batteries instead of t-shirts. I'm kidding. Swoop is known for doing stunts like ziplining and even parachuting in the stadium, which takes big balls, like being an opposing fan coming to the Link. He was also in the movie Ace Ventura, where he got his ass kicked. Philadelphia Eagles. Bobby Hoying had respectable numbers in 1997, but followed it up with a disastrous stretch in 98, where he lost all but one of his 8 starts and failed to throw a touchdown in the process, but did throw 9 passes to the other team. He needs to send CJ Stroud a gift basket, as he's another OSU QB who sucked ass. Philadelphia Eagles, Tony Franklin. Tony Franklin was a barefoot kicker, now an extinct breed in the NFL, but maybe he should have tried wearing a cleat on his right foot, because he might have made more than 62% of his kicks over 5 years in Philly, or maybe he wouldn't have missed a 28-yarder in Super Bowl 15. Yeah, put a sock on, you loser. The snow in the Detroit Lions-Eagles game was trucked in from Canada. It's week 14 of the 2013-2014 NFL season. The 7-5 Eagles are taking on the 7-5 Detroit Lions in a contest in Philadelphia with major playoff implications. The weather conditions, absolute blizzard, but not in how you think. No, this isn't snow coming from the clouds like God intended. No, it was snow trucked in from Canada. Do you think I'm joking? Look how flaky and perfect that snow is. There's literally nothing that nice that exists in Philadelphia. Yes, for the whole game, machines blew snow onto the field. Why? Because the league hates the Lions, didn't want to see them in the playoffs. They knew that a prime Matthew Stafford along with Megatron under normal conditions would have torched Chip Kelly's Eagles. So they trucked in a blizzard from Canada. I'm trying to say this all with a straight face. Look at the footage. I mean, the NFL isn't even trying to pretend like this game was real. The Eagles would end up making the playoffs that year, and the Lions did not. Need I say more? Conspiracy confirmed. The Philadelphia Eagles, Michael Irvin. Eagles fans hated Michael Irvin so much they actually cheered when he received a neck injury that ended his career. I mean, that's pretty classless, even for Eagles fans. Just kidding. That's surprisingly non-violent for them. You kids literally don't remember this because you weren't born yet, but the Cowboys used to dominate the Eagles, and Irvin talked a lot of shit during that domination. Philadelphia Eagles. Terrell Owens had a valiant performance in the Super Bowl after what should have been a season-ending injury, catching 9 passes in the loss to New England. But T.O. spent the entire next season talking his way out of Philly, eventually getting suspended by Andy Reid, and then going on to join the rival Cowboys. Philadelphia Eagles, Leonard Tost. Even though one of his teams got to a Super Bowl in 1980, Leonard Tost is a largely hated owner of the Eagles, since outside of a 4-year stretch in the early 80s, they were awful. The team went 96-126 under Tost, who made his money in the trucking industry. He was a compulsive gambler and lost millions in Vegas, and even sued a casino for quote-unquote getting him too drunk. He also had a backdoor deal to move the team to Phoenix, but then sold them instead. Probably the most hated owner in Philadelphia history. The Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles have had some bad trades, like Kiko Alonso for Shady McCoy, but none were worse than when they traded for a QB and got nothing. In 1971, they traded to the Lions 2 seconds and a third for Greg Barton. Barton promptly signed in the CFL and never played it down for the Eagles, lasting one season north of the border. The Eagles also traded Norm Snead away, thinking they had their guy. The picks became Dave Thompson and Ken Sanders, solid NFL pros. And now, finally, the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles. A season after losing in heartbreaking fashion in Super Bowl 57, the Eagles came back with a bolstered roster that included a home run first-round pick in Jordan Davis, a great free agent signing in DeAndre Swift, and a mid-season trade for former Titans safety Kevin Byard, and an unstoppable play that nearly caused the NFL rulebook to be changed. And it didn't matter. Here's why. Offensively, the Eagles ranked 7th in the league for points scored and 16th in total passing yards. Defensively, though, they ranked 30th in points allowed, 31st in passing yards allowed, and 10th in rushing yards allowed. The Eagles D, after leading the NFL in sacks the year before, only featured one player who broke the 10-sack mark in 2023. This decline in both game and statistical performances can be attributed mainly to two factors: coaching changes and the departure of key free agents. Offensive coordinator Shane Steichen and defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon played crucial roles in leading the team. However, after the Super Bowl loss, both coordinators left for head coaching opportunities, leaving a power vacuum on both sides of the ball. Additionally, the Eagles failed to retain interception machine Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. Then the new OC Brian Johnson lacked creative play calling and schemes, which initially went unnoticed during the Eagles' 10-1 start. Let's just say the tush push did a lot of the heavy lifting, and it all came crashing down. A 10-1 start whittled away to 11-6 by the end of the year, and in the wild card round, they got lit up by Baker Mayfield in Tampa. The collapse was so embarrassing that Nick Sirianni nearly lost his job less than 12 months following a Super Bowl appearance. If you think their defense looked terrible, there's a big reason why. This guy. Philadelphia Eagles, Tom Modrak. The Eagles have been successful since 2000, going to 3 Super Bowls and winning 1. That hurts. But before all this success was Tom Modrak, who from 1998 to 2001 oversaw a 19-29 record. His last draft yielded mixed results: Freddie Mitchell, Gary Scott, and Quentin Carver. He did hire Andy Reid, who ended up replacing him as GM. Yikes. Philadelphia Eagles. In 2002, it came to light that there was a peephole in the cheerleaders' dressing room at the old vet for nearly 20 years. Over 73 cheerleaders joined the suit, and it was quietly settled for an undisclosed amount of money. There was also the Bounty Bowl, where in 1989, Buddy Ryan paid players up to $200 to purposely injure other players, even the kickers, ones who used to play for the team, like Luis Zendejas, who they cut. And then they went out and paid players $200 to injure him. Dude, fuck Buddy Ryan. Philadelphia Eagles purposely tanking the 2020 season finale. The Eagles' rock bottom came in Week 17 of the 2020 season when head coach Doug Peterson controversially benched quarterback Jalen Hurts in favor of Nate Sudfeld, seemingly tanking in a 2014 loss to Washington as a intentional fuck you to the New York Giants, who missed the playoffs because of this petty move. The decision marked the end of Peterson's tenure, tarnishing his Super Bowl winning legacy and raising questions about the team's competitive integrity. Well, owner Jeffrey Lurie saw it fit to replace Peterson with Nick Sirianni, who has seen success despite himself. Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles fans and their coach have talked a lot of shit lately, but let's not forget that stretch of years where they consistently made deep playoff runs, only to come up short like a midget at a urinal. From 2001 to 2004, the team made the NFC Championship game or the Super Bowl and then lost in some type of horrific fashion. Then they continued to make the playoffs and choke for 6 more years after that. It ended up chasing Andy Reid out of town, and then they hired Chip Kelly, sending them to the doldrums. The Philadelphia Eagles, 1968. With a 2-12 record, the Eagles' 1968 season was one of pure frustration. So bad, in fact, fans pelted Santa Claus with snowballs, a moment that has become part of Philly lore. Apparently, the Santa Claus in question was a fucking drunk and was being an asshole, but that just makes the story even more Philly. Philly fan. They wouldn't put up a winning record for another decade. And also a quick shout out to 2011 when Vince Young called the Eagles the dream team and they finished 8-8. Philadelphia Eagles. Nick Sirianni is a fucking clown. He has thankfully kept his mouth shut the last 3 quarters of the season, but if you win a couple playoff games, there's no way this guy doesn't start spouting hot takes like he has his own show on ESPN. If Jalen Hurts isn't playing, you are cooked. All those weapons are still being misused if you ask me, and the tush push should be illegal. And how in the fuck did you blow that game to the Commanders? But honestly, this cringe video says it all. Veterans Stadium. Not only was the Vet perhaps the quintessential example of a concrete dual-use donut, but unlike a donut you would sit on for your hemorrhoids, this stadium was never comforting. That's a wild reference. The Vet opened in 1971, 3 years after they booed Santa, and it was one of the first stadiums to have its own jail inside of it, and trust me, they needed it. There were so many mice that the stadium used cats to control the mouse population. A scandal involving a hole in the wall allowed visiting players to peep into the cheerleaders' showers from 1993 to 2002. Yeah, that happened. South Philly was also awful at the time of the Vet, with multiple abandoned stadiums and run-down neighborhoods. It's gotten better since. I've been there. It's nice. But the curse of the Vet spilled over onto the playing field, as for 32 years the Eagles never won a Super Bowl despite being wildly successful in the regular season and even the playoffs. They also discovered cancer-causing chemicals in the old turf at the Vet. The Vet was finally imploded in 2003, and this was the least violent incident to happen in the building, as fights were more common during games than people pissing in the sinks. Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, you know this one. It has a literal freaking statue of it outside of the stadium, of 2 guys who weren't even on the team 3 years later. Rumor has it their actual bodies are trapped inside. Yes, the 1-yard touchdown pass, known as the Philly Special, is the most iconic for them, and it came in Super Bowl 52 as it beat the Patriots, yada, yada, yada. Philadelphia Eagles. Wait a minute, you guys figured out how to gain short yardage whenever you want, and that's now cheating? Yeah, good old-fashioned QB sneak is cheating. But wait, Philly's also a dump. I can't argue that your team sucks, so let me bring up the fact that there are fent leaners on Kensington Avenue because you just won the Super Bowl. For real though, fuck Philly. Fuck Philly. No, not joking there. Philly Special, Lincoln Financial Field. Wild that both people in the Philly Special statue would be gone from the team in less than 3 years after it was unveiled, which is also a crazy story as the play happened in Super Bowl 52, and less than 8 months later, the statue was up and outside of the link. It's not a bad statue though. It's probably the most simple out of the ones on this list, and I'm really surprised the sculptor didn't give Nick Foles a huge dong. Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The area where the link was built has long been home to many stadiums in South Philly. However, the previous site of JFK Stadium was chosen to house the Xfinity Center, where the Flyers and the Sixers play. The land Lincoln Financial Field was built on was occupied by a building called the T Warehouse, which had over 1 million square feet and was owned by a guy named Don Tesoro. The city bought it and demolished it, and now you have the link. A little fishy. They didn't have to destroy that warehouse.
The 2000s Eagles. The 2000s Eagles made the playoffs 8 times, but the heart of their title window was from 2001 to 2004, when they made 4 straight NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, as an Eagles fan, the team went just 1-4 in the NFC Championship game, and when they did get to the big stage in 2004, they puked all over themselves, literally, committing 4 turnovers in a winnable game versus the Patriots. The home NFC Championship game losses to Tampa Bay and Carolina in 2002 and 2003 stung the most, but don't overlook the team coming back from a 24-6 deficit to take a 4th quarter lead in the 2008 NFC Championship game just to lose 32-25. I'm gonna inject a marijuana now.
Philadelphia. As an Eagles fan, this is tough for me to roast my own team, but it must be done.
I honestly never thought we'd win a Super Bowl in my lifetime, so winning it all in 2017 was obviously amazing, but it came at the cost of Carson Wentz's confidence, which in turn began to rot the team from the inside out, especially when Nick Foles came in and almost led the team to the NFC Championship game again the next year. By 2020, after another ill-timed injury in the 2019 playoffs, Wentz devolved into the worst quarterback in the league and was jettisoned to Indy. Now we're stuck with a glorified
glorified H-back and Jalen Hurts at quarterback. All of our wide receivers that we draft highly always turn out to be dog shit, so I'm not expecting much from Devonta Smith, who is so tiny he will fly away if you leave a door open near him. Doug Peterson turned out to be a fraud, and our future looks pretty bleak. Eagles fans are also largely douchebags who cheer injured opponents. Sure, we had our moment in the sun in 2017, but before and after that, it's been nothing but playoff heartbreaks and disappointments. And finally, Swoop Eagles. Cool name? Check. Cool look? Check. Just intimidating enough to look serious but still kid-friendly? Check. Pretty much the perfect mascot, and I'm not just saying this because I'm an Eagles fan. If you don't think Swoop is a great mascot, then you're a bad person and you can kindly go to hell. Rating? 10 out of 10. Philadelphia Eagles, Donovan McNabb. My favorite athlete growing up and the reason I became a Philadelphia Eagles fan. McNabb kind of gets forgotten about today because he never won a ring, but he was an elite quarterback for the better part of a decade. He made 6 Pro Bowls and finished his Eagles career with almost 33,000 passing yards and 216 touchdowns. He led the team to 5 NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl appearance in 2004. He had his issues in big games and deserves some blame for the team never winning at all, but he was incredibly exciting to watch, and I choose to focus on all the good times he had with the team. Philadelphia Eagles, King Hill. No, not King of the Hill. The guy's name was actually King Hill, and he stunk at playing quarterback, despite being the first overall pick in 1958. After flaming out with the Cardinals, he lasted 8 years in Philly, mostly as a spot starter, and accumulated 29 touchdowns to 51 interceptions for a gross 54.8 rating. In those 8 years, he started just 18 games and went 5-12-1. If you're gonna go by the name King, at least make sure you're actually fucking good at what you do. Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl 39. I am well versed in playoff disappointment as an Eagles fan, but I ultimately went with Super Bowl 39 here because it was an extremely winnable game on the biggest stage. Philly committed 4 turnovers, 3 of which came in New England territory to halt great scoring opportunities. This allowed New England to get away with being asleep on offense for almost the entire first half. It's shocking, I know, that Tom Brady would get away with playing like ass for an entire half in the Super Bowl. It was a 14-14 game heading into the fourth, but the Philly defense was no match for Brady's breathtaking screen passes. New England reeled off 10 straight points to take a commanding lead. Philly added a late touchdown that ended up being meaningless in a frustrating 24-21 loss. Thank God for Nick Foles. Philadelphia Eagles, Randall Cunningham. Similar to Michael Vick, Eagles Cunningham was an absolute freak athlete and must-watch TV. He had a stellar season in 1990 where I think he should have won MVP. However, for all his athleticism, Cunningham took a lot of sacks. So many sacks, in fact, that destroyed his efficiency most seasons. Almost every good play you got with Randall was canceled out by a mistake. It also doesn't help that in the playoffs he was largely bad with the Eagles, wasting a bunch of ridiculously talented defenses. Philadelphia Eagles. How does an Eagles fan trigger other Eagles fans? That's a tough task for most people, but I'm not most people. Last year, the Eagles were one of the worst playoff teams ever, and it's obvious Jalen Hurts is not the long-term answer. He panics too easily in the pocket, and he sucks against good teams. But I've said this before. No. What really hurts to think about is whether the Eagles would have another ring or two if they had traded away Carson Wentz after 2018 and kept Nick Foles as the full-time starter moving forward in 2019. The Eagles are 23-7 in Foles' last 30 starts with the team across 2013 to 2018, including a famous Super Bowl win over Brady and Belichick. But no, we can't have nice things. Hell, forget about 2017. Foles nearly brought the team to a second straight NFC Championship game in 2018, but Alshon Jeffrey had to drop a fucking pass in the red zone that turned into an interception. This franchise desperately misses Foles' unsettlingly large penis. Well, at least I do. I'm not gay, alright? Philadelphia Eagles, 2004 Donovan McNabb. It came down to 04 McNabb, Jalen Hurts last year in 2022, and 2013 Nick Foles when he threw 27 touchdowns and 2 picks, didn't win a playoff game. Unfortunately, or fortunately in my case, the only time the Eagles did win the Super Bowl ever was with a backup quarterback, so there's been no seasons where an Eagles quarterback had both a great regular season and a Super Bowl win, although it should have happened last year if not for Carl Sheffers and the Sodfather. But McNabb in 04 gets my vote because he was absolutely incredible. The addition of Terrell Owens took his game to another level. In essentially just 14 games, he went 13-1, threw for almost 4,000 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 picks, a 105 passer rating, while also running for 3 more scores and piloting the Eagles to easy, efficient wins over the Vikings and Falcons in the playoffs to get to their first Super Bowl since 1980. Unfortunately for McNabb, his season will be most remembered for whether or not he puked in the Super Bowl, as some people claim, although it's never been confirmed or denied. McNabb threw 3 touchdowns touchdowns, but also 3 interceptions and had some boneheaded plays in a winnable game where they lost by 3 to the New England Patriots and a guy named Tom Brady. That's interesting. Both Brady and Mahomes faced the Eagles in their 3rd Super Bowls. Philadelphia Eagles. We finally get to my team, and if you think I'm going to take it easy on us, you're wrong. We have 1 ring in our entire existence, and that is the only thing separating us from being the Vikings. There is so much disappointment in our history that it's disgusting. From getting blown out in the Super Bowl in 1980 by the Raiders to not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 NFC Championship game losses in an 8-year span during the Andy Reid era, 2 of which came at home, by the way, to losing an absurdly winnable Super Bowl in 2004 to the fucking Patriots because of 4 turnovers, 3 of which came on their side of the field. We should have made at least 4 Super Bowls during that span in 2002, 03, 04, and 08 and gotten at least 2 rings. But instead, we won jack shit. Then, of course, there's last year when we were the best team in the league all year, got a huge break in the NFC Championship game with Purdy getting hurt, just to choke away a 10-point halftime lead in Super Bowl 57. I love you, Jalen, but what the fuck, bro? You fumbled that shit without even getting touched. But even if Hurts hadn't had that fumble 6, our historic pass rush turned into a bunch of scrubs, even accounting for the compromised field. Not one fucking defensive stop all second half, and the special teams. Really great time to allow a guy who gets injured enough to apply for a fucking handicap sticker to return a punt 60 yards. Fuck! We scored 35 points in the Super Bowl and lost. We might get back to another Super Bowl because our team is currently loaded, but we will never put up that many points again. I guarantee it. Jalen Hurts is 1 major lower body injury away from becoming the next RG3. Eagles fans are fickle, sad motherfuckers with no respect for anybody. The most famous member of our fan base, EDP445, is a morbidly obese pedophile who got caught trying to hook up with a 13-year-old. We boo injured players. It's gross. I want to say we don't deserve our reputation as a horrible fan base, but we really do. Outside of 2017, this team has always let me down in every big moment, and because I'm an idiot, I will continue to get my hopes up every single time. We should have at least 4 or 5 rings right now, but instead, we have the least rings of any NFC East team. And this is with the Cowboys in Washington giving us 30 years to catch up. Last but not least, our newest first-round pick, Jalen Carter, was at the scene of several people dying because he partook in street racing at highly illegal speeds. Just further, Philadelphia Eagles. Obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, so I don't like to do this, and Eagles are admittedly badass, cool-looking animals, but I must point out that it is extremely offensive to fish and other aquatic animals who are brutally murdered and ripped from their families and loved ones by eagles with their giant-ass talons out of the water, as you can see in this non-Photoshop picture I have here. That fish had a family that cared about it, and now guess what? It's gone. That's what eagles do. They brutally take fish and other sea creatures away from their families and loved ones. It should never be accepted or promoted, but that's what the Eagles organization is doing. But in a way, I will say it's canceled out because the bald eagle is so fucking American that it almost cancels out the offensiveness. Almost. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Reagor. Oh boy, does this make me happy. Reagor was selected 21st overall in the 2020 NFL Draft. Immediately 1 pick before Justin Jefferson, who looks like he's on track for a Hall of Fame career. He's also selected ahead of Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, and Michael Pittman Jr., who've all had very, very good starts to their careers. Reagor, on the other hand, to this point, still hasn't broken 1,000 career receiving yards. He played just 2 years in Philly and had more fumbles than he did touchdowns. That's really all you need to know. He's still in the league with the New England Patriots because they're basically the only team bad enough to take him at their receiving core at this point. Excuse me while I go vomit. Philadelphia Eagles, Carson Wentz, 2020. Now, statistically, this isn't the worst season in Eagles history by a qualified quarterback, but I saw it with my own eyes, and 2020 was a season where so many quarterbacks had great years because there were no fans in the stands, and Wentz was just so unbelievably terrible and disappointing because if you look at his numbers from 2017 to 2019, he was a really good quarterback, and then in 2020, the bottom fell through. He started 12 games going just 3-8-1. He completed 57% of his passes, again, terrible for 2020, and had just 16 touchdowns to 15 interceptions. He led the league in interceptions despite not playing in 4 games. He had a terrible 72.8 passer rating in a season where the average passer rating league-wide was in the 90s, and he also took the most sacks and had the most yards lost of any quarterback in the league. Simply put, it was just a horrific way for Wentz to end his tenure with the Eagles after it started with so much promise. But he now is currently taking the role of backup quarterback who will probably win a Super Bowl to Patrick Mahomes, following the lines of Blaine Gabbert and Chad Henne and Matt Moore as well. Philadelphia Eagles, the biggest need is we need a bigger fucking trophy case, man. But seriously, an edge rusher would be nice. Nolan Smith seemed to come into his own a little bit last year, especially in the postseason. The biggest name that's going to hit free agency is Zach Bond, who came out of nowhere. Josh Sweat is another guy, but they just could use another edge rusher. And oh wow, wouldn't you know it, Myles Garrett is demanding a trade. If the Eagles get Myles Garrett in addition to their current defensive line, oh my god, I'll need to change my underwear. Philadelphia Eagles, 1957. I was tempted to put this year's draft class with the Eagles because guys like Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean have already contributed to a Super Bowl win, but I went with 1957 for now because they drafted 2 Hall of Fame players, Sonny Jurgensen, Hall of Fame quarterback, and Tommy McDonald, a Hall of Fame running back or flanker back, whatever the fuck they used to call him back then in the 50s. They also drafted Billy Ray Barnes, who was a 3-time Pro Bowler. Jurgensen never had any playoff success, but he's widely considered to be one of the most talented quarterbacks ever and is in the Hall of Fame, as I said. He was almost kind of like the Aaron Rodgers of his era in terms of throwing the ball. Tommy McDonald, obviously a 6-time Pro Bowler, and then they had a bunch of other players that were longtime starters, respectable careers. This was a big reason why they won the World Championship in 1960 over the Green Bay Packers, the only playoff loss in Bart Starr and Vince Lombardi's entire careers. The Philadelphia Eagles signed Nnamdi Ass Muga in 2011. He was supposed to be a fucking cornerstone guy. They signed him to a 5-year, $60 million deal for $25 million guaranteed after he made a couple All-Pro teams in Oakland as a shutdown corner, and he was complete dog shit in 2 years with the Eagles. I mean, he was fucking terrible. He forgot how to cover people, he couldn't tackle, he barely had interceptions, and the Eagles missed the playoffs both times, both years he was there, including a 4-12 season in 2012 before the Eagles finally cut bait with him. It just what a fucking disgrace he is. And he's now an actor, but really he should be in jail for robbing the Eagles like this. It's just disgusting. Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Sirianni. For the longest time, even going into the Super Bowl last year, there was a lot of people, and maybe there still are people, who aren't sure if Sirianni is a good coach or not. Well, in 4 seasons as the Eagles head coach, he's won 71% of his games. They've made the playoffs every single year. He's made 2 Super Bowls, and he's now won a Super Bowl in dominating fashion, and he's only 44 years old. So basically, with the way that the Eagles are run, maybe on his own accord, is Sirianni a great head coach? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, his teams win, and they get to the Super Bowl, and they win the Super Bowl. So really, as of right now, I don't think there's anything that could get him fired. His hot seat ranking at the moment is a perfect 0 out of 5. Philadelphia Eagles, Nolan Smith. This was so difficult as an Eagles fan because we have so many great young players. So who's a young player on our roster right now that really is flying under the radar, but is also in position to take the next step? And I might have said Nakobe Dean, but he got hurt last year in the playoffs, so I'm going to go with Nolan Smith. He had a very disappointing rookie season with just 1 sack in 17 games. He started to turn it on a little bit last year in the regular season with 6.5 sacks, but he really came into his own in the postseason, where he led the postseason with 4 sacks and 4 tackles for loss, and I believe that's going to be a starting point, a jump-off point for him to really become the next level outside linebacker that he was drafted to be when he came out of Georgia in 2023. If they can get him to take the next level, and obviously you got Jalen Carter, who's an amazing driver. The Eagles' defense, which was already great, obviously, and already has a lot of great young pieces, is going to be even scarier this year. God, I'm so happy to be an Eagles fan. But anyway, yes, expect Nolan Smith to get double-digit sacks this year. Philadelphia Eagles, Jordan Davis. As an Eagles fan, I am just tickled pink by the amount of talent that we have on our team and the fact that we're set up both for the immediate future and the distant future. We just won the Super Bowl. We should be in contention for the Super Bowl for at least the next 3 or 4 years. We've hit on a lot of our draft picks, but the one high draft pick in recent memory that, in my opinion, has disappointed has been Jordan Davis. We all know Jordan Davis is a gigantic human being, and we all know he plays interior defensive line, so I'm not expecting him to go out there and get 15 or 20 sacks a game or a season. Okay, I'm not expecting superstar huge numbers, but there are so many times during games where I just completely forget that Jordan Davis is out there. He's not as impactful as he should be. Jalen Carter has already completely lapped him, no pun intended, in terms of impact, and he came in a year later than Davis. I can't really remember a single great play that Jordan Davis has made in a big moment. I guess he's good when it comes to stuffing the run simply because he's just such a huge human being. But I don't know. I feel like when you draft a guy 13th overall, you're expecting more than just a run stopper or a lane clogger, and you're certainly expecting more than just 90 tackles and 3.5 sacks. I will say this though, he did have a sack in both the NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl last year, so maybe he's finally turned a corner, which if he has, then the Eagles should be even more dominant than they already are, which is a terrifying thought for the rest of the league. Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. I really want to let it be known that I am not ignorant to the situation right now that I'm in as an Eagles fan, how spoiled I am right now as an Eagles fan, because the biggest problem for me is that I have to listen to people talk shit about my quarterback when all my quarterback does is produce touchdowns and win, okay? So many fan bases, they are dying. Their biggest issue is they can't find a good quarterback, whereas my biggest problem is defending my quarterback from people saying that he scores too many touchdowns and that he wins too much and that he's on too good of a team and therefore he's not actually good. That's a great situation to be in as a fan. Now, he's not, if you're talking about a 3rd and long or a pure passing situation, he is not quite the guy that Mahomes, Allen, and Burrow are, but he is still capable of making every single throw. And if you don't agree with me, put on tape of Super Bowl 57. No, not Super Bowl 59, the one, you know, where he won Super Bowl MVP last year, right? Super Bowl 57, the one that he lost. Go put on highlights of that film, watch the throws he made in that game, and tell me he's not a great passer. He does play on a loaded team. I fully admit that, okay? But he's not the first good quarterback to play on a loaded team, but he does feel like the first good quarterback who gets degraded and talked about like he's Dorian Thompson-Robinson or some other scrub because he has good teammates, right? But he make no mistake, Hurts is the part that makes it all go. He's been the best player in 2 Super Bowls, outplaying Mahomes both times. People talk about who's Mahomes' biggest rival, and everybody obviously points to Josh Allen because they've played the most times in the playoffs, they play in the same conference, blah, blah, blah. But if you really want to know who's given Mahomes the biggest fits thus far, head-to-head in his career, some people might say Tom Brady, but Mahomes outplayed Brady in the 2018 AFC Championship game. Jalen Hurts, he's outplayed Mahomes in both Super Bowls they played against each other. So, you know, Jalen Hurts, he's a big game player. So in a way, I would say the biggest rival, at least right now, you might argue Tom Brady overall is the biggest rival for Mahomes, but right now among current quarterbacks, I would argue that Hurts and the Eagles are actually the rival to the Chiefs that everybody want the Bills and the Ravens and the Bengals to be, right? How about that for a bar? Anyway, like I said, big game player. He very easily could already have 2 rings and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. He's on track for a Hall of Fame career, and the Eagles are in great position to become the next dynasty, but they won't become a dynasty. For all the talent they have, they will not become a dynasty unless Jalen Hurts is leading the way. And he's going to have to win probably a few MVPs to start getting respect from other fan bases, but honestly, as long as we keep winning rings, I don't really care. Jalen Hurts' prove-it rating is a minuscule 2 out of 10.
Likes to overplay Philadelphia a lot.
Eagles, fuck Pat Mahomes, Taylor Swift, cheese whiz and onions.
Because it's low-hanging fruit to them.
Philadelphia police are seeking 9 suspects on vandalism and felony riot charges.
Know how we get.
Y'all know about that Holland.
Anytime there's a fight in the stands, Philadelphia, oh my God, these fans are the worst.
The brutal, darn near unwatchable behavior of some of the Philadelphia Eagles fans.
Listen, you hate us because you ain't us. Because you wish you had the passion that we have. It's the Eagles till I fucking die. The energy we have. If you put on an Eagles jersey, you better fucking die for that shit. The fight that we have.
I'ma them Chiefs raw!
And the media likes to pick on that. Truth of the matter is the media wishes that they could do what we do. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching another Channel 5 Sports Special.
Sports Special.
Channel 5.
Sports Special. But I'm about to drink this motherfucker! Can you tell me what's going on right now?
Freedom, love, peacefulness, tranquility. The earth is resetting itself on some Thanos type shit. On some Thanos, you feel me, on some Thanos type shit? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last week, if you can remember, we filmed the victory secured by the LA Dodgers.
The fucking Dodgers!
And dove into the secret, dark history behind Dodger Stadium.
Yeah, that shit was pretty fucked up.
And sports fans of all kinds across the country enjoyed the brief history lesson.
Andrew Callahan, I love
love you. I just watched your Dodgers documentary.
But this week, we dropped the bat and picked up the old pigskin to pivot our coverage toward football.
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Look!
There's no more meaning to life. I've lived the best life I could. I'm ready to myself. Go Birds.
Not sure if you guys got the memo, but the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs in a blowout victory that sent Tech9, Donald Trump, and Travis Kelce home early. Actually, I don't think Travis Kelce went home early, but...
You think he got drunk, baby?
He was sad.
He was for sure sad.
So we felt, given the historic nature of Philadelphia sports fans, that Eagles coverage was an absolute must.
Super Bowl champions, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't even drink beer. We outside.
I hope my employer doesn't see this.
As a Philly native, I would have liked to have been there, but unfortunately, I was on an anniversary vacation in Jamaica, exploring semi-abandoned structures in Westmoreland Parish with me generals, Betty White and Michael. I learned a lot about resort tourism, beach ownership, and corruption in the process, and I look forward to returning to the island for more coverage.
Bumba clock.
But back to the Super Bowl.
Jalen Hurts in New Orleans balling the motherfucking out.
They're not killing DEI because Jalen fucking Hurts saved us.
Shout out Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts out there winning the Super Bowls, getting us rings. Jalen Hurts, MVP.
I knew that we had to cover it, so Saddam went out to the streets of Philadelphia, and our videographer Elliot went out to the streets of Seattle, where my dad, Brian Callahan, owns an Eagles-themed sports bar called Last Call.
Hey, my name is Elliot Liegren. We're coming to you live from the Last Call Bar here in Seattle, Washington, Seattle's premier Eagles bar. I'm here with Brian Callahan, the owner and proprietor of the best Eagles bar in the city.
That's right. I've been in Seattle 18 years, but I'm a Philly guy. All I wanted to do was make a place for me and my homies who want to go, and now we are. Yeah.
We are.
We're at the last call, baby.
Go fuck yourself. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Taylor Swift. Fuck Travis Kelce.
We're here for the Eagles. We're here to fucking win it all.
From the footage Elliot sent me, my dad's bar looked insane. How was Philly?
Man, Philly was crazy, man. It was a mixed bag, you know? Fools playing drums outside.
You ready for the fucking game? For the fucking game? I came from Florida to see this fucking game.
Really?
Yeah. It's our fucking year.
I'm a big fan of sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm one of them type, you know.
All right. We started off the day at a Reading terminal to get breakfast. It was like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. Fools were already drinking.
Seemed like a pretty mellow vibe though, right?
Yeah, it was chill. It was like little kids and shit like that. I guess like later on, we tried to go to a Chiefs bar, and the moment we stepped inside, like 6 armed security guards came out. So yeah, we're outside of Big Charlie Saloon. It's the only Kansas City bar in this area in Philly, in Pennsylvania, probably. We tried to get in, they wouldn't let us in. It's a private party. There's state agents, police, and other private security guards here making sure no one can get in. That's not a real KC fan.
Did you try to walk inside wearing a ski mask and an Eagles jacket?
Yeah. I kind of forget what I look like to other people. There's also like a watch party that I walked up on, and I came from behind the screen, and someone pulled out a gun on me.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, where'd you ultimately end up after that?
What's the South Street, the daiquiri spot.
Oh, Fat Tuesdays.
Fat Tuesdays, and that was a cool ass vibe. Oh, yo, what's up? We got Fat Tuesdays. The Eagles are up 24-0. Everyone's pretty excited out here.
Yeah, we in the P, yo, we outside.
Straight out the fucking end.
Go fucking Birds. Go goddamn Birds. Go Birds.
All we need is Saquon to get in the end zone right now, and I got fucking $8,000 in my bank account, so.
I couldn't give a fuck about gambling, bro. E-A-G-L-E-S. Eagles!
Yeah, I mean, something that I noticed from the footage is that it seemed like a lot of the fans were pretty one note.
Yeah, I mean, it was just go Eagles, you know, spelling Eagles. You know what I mean? I'd have to ask them at one point, just like, yo, like, what's your favorite thing about Philly? They're like, the Eagles. Yeah. You know? Just like, what else?
Because look at them, bro. They're official. Just like the fucking Eagles. The most official team in the league. Saquon, 2,000 yards. A.J. Brown on the slant. What can you do? Jalen Hurts, you don't want to press up? He's gone. Shut the fuck up.
But I think that goes for most sports fans in general.
For sure.
The fucking Dodgers!
The thing that I find most interesting about the Eagles is their reputation. According to an anonymous NFL player poll conducted by ESPN with 91 NFL players, a majority of players reported that the Eagles had quote-unquote the most annoying fan base in football. And right in the key frame of the article is none other than Jamie Padgley, aka Philly Sports Guy.
What's up, everybody? Philly sports guy here. I travel to many places and go to as many games as I can to root on all of our Philly teams.
And if I'm not mistaken, you got the pleasure of sitting down with the man himself.
To the birds.
Yeah, he was really chill and he was real passionate. He kind of broke down the history of how they got that reputation.
Philly sports stereotypes, a historical breakdown.
Yeah, because my dad kind of told me that the whole Eagles fan stereotype is based upon a calculated media smear that began in the 60s.
Yeah, and in 1968, there's a game where they brought down a dude of Santa Claus, right? So it's Christmas, you know, America's favorite holiday, and they're seeing Eagles fans tossing snowballs, ice, hoagies, and beer at Santa Claus.
I found an article about this. It was called the 1968 Santa Claus Snowball Incident.
Did an entire stadium in Philadelphia boo Santa Claus? Yes.
From the way he explained it, he said it didn't really happen like that.
Listen, they were expressing, it wasn't on Santa, it was on the Eagles. The Eagles had a terrible season. They were gonna have Santa Claus ride around the stadium. The Santa who was supposed to show up didn't, so they chose a guy out of the stands who had been drinking all day long and was wearing like a half-ass Santa suit, was like, you know, not even fat. and they drove him around and he loved it. Yeah. Like it was like the culmination of his life. Yeah. Like he remembered that so fondly that it was like, hey.
So according to Jamie, it was all good fun.
It was perfect.
He says that, like, I guess the media tries to make them look bad.
Listen, there's been people who have been killed at other stadiums that never get reported. Kansas City Chiefs had 3 deaths at their stadium from people getting killed between the Chiefs and the Raiders. Nobody ever mentions that whatsoever. We've never had anybody killed at the stadium. You know, we've had fights. Yeah, we've had things.
In the following decades after the incident, there was a number of other highly publicized Philly fan incidents.
Philadelphia Eagles fans booed at the Easter Bunny.
They booed the Easter Bunny at the Phillies game in 1971.
And in 1999, they threw batteries at outfielder J.D. Drew. And they were D-cell batteries, not the little AA batteries. It was like those fat ones. I gotta imagine that hurts a lot.
Yeah, it also says in 2010, a Phillies fan deliberately projectile vomited on an 11-year-old daughter of a rival fan.
Our officials say the fan intentionally vomited on a young girl and her father.
The media likes to overplay Philadelphia a lot.
But anyways, Jamie's perspective in my eyes became particularly hard to defend in 2018 when you had the most widely publicized Philly sports riot of all time.
That was the culmination of really 60 years waiting to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, that was crazy. They were burning shit, ripping poles out the ground. I think several people died, and for some reason, somebody ate horse shit. I don't understand.
Especially after winning the game.
Yeah.
I'm curious, did Jamie point out any media inaccuracies in the portrayal of the 2018 riots?
Yeah. He said that this one was like put out there a lot, that some guy had flipped a car, but the person who flipped the car, it was their car.
Nobody ever said that it was the guy's car. He did it to himself. Truth of the matter is that he flipped his own car and blew that up. All right?
Yeah, so he flipped his own car, which is technically illegal. I guess, you know what I mean?
Did Jamie accept that, like, anything really went wrong during that riot?
Nah, it was just, good old fun.
I feel like the media overplays a lot.
I mean, there's a lot that I could say, but I actually respect Jamie for standing on business.
What's up, everybody? This is what happens after you win the Super Bowl.
Hey, bro, we just fucking smacked the fuck out of them Chiefs.
Natural position in the pros. Hurts lets it go. Complete A.J. Brown. He's in. Touchdown, Eagles.
What did you think of the game?
I feel like if you're not an Eagles fan, it's probably pretty boring. They scored like 17 points in the the first half.
I think what struck me the most was the Super Bowl commercials. I know some people don't watch them, but I always watch them because you can see what the agenda is. Yeah, my favorite one was probably the Chevron commercial where they described themselves as Chevron, the human energy company. If you ask me where the true evil lies in the world, it would be split trilaterally between energy companies, real estate empires, and then weapons manufacturers. So to see Chevron advertising a new offshore oil rig in the newly renamed Gulf of America, less than 20 years after the Deepwater Horizon oil spill destroyed the Gulf coastline. Just kind of reminds me how fucked we actually are and how painful it will be to explain our extreme collective stupidity to our grandchildren, who will have no choice but to grow up in the hellscape that we've left behind for them.
Yeah, I was fucking with Kendrick Lamar's halftime show. That shit was going up.
Oh, he got Serena Williams crib walking. He got Serena Williams crib walking.
Trying to strike a chord and it's probably. They not like us.
You know, karmically, I feel like Kendrick made the wrong play, and he violated the fourth law of power. Always say less than necessary. You know what I mean?
How do you mean?
All right, think about it. Kendrick defeated Drake in a shockingly humiliating fashion last summer. You had the success of Not Like Us. You had the Not Like Us music video, both going #1. You had the Pop Out concert in LA, where he basically had a sold-out show and united all the different gangs of LA on stage in unison to drop their flag just to diss Drake. And then he just won Best Rap Song, Best Video at the Grammys.
Yeah.
And he went on stage wearing a Canadian tuxedo to troll Drake, and he took the award. Now he goes back to the largest possible platform, 100 million people watching, and effectively calls Drake a pedophile, even though they bleeped out the word.
Yeah.
While smiling at the camera.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I generally am Team Kendrick because I'm an American, but I think that sore winners finish last in the end. And when you build an empire on vengeance, it will inevitably end in tragedy.
Yeah, for sure. How was the vibe in Seattle?
Oh, it was good, man. You know, they actually turned off the TV during Kendrick's performance just to slap Meek Mill.
Hey, rest in peace. Hey, rest in peace. Rest in peace to the parking lot. Phantom so big, can't even fit in the parking spot.
It's so fucking with Meek Mill.
Yeah, it turns out real Philadelphians don't care if you have a couple gay moments throughout the years.
I might turn gay if Jalen Hurts wins MVP. Might do something gay.
Let's fucking go!
Shout out to Lil Nas X.
What was it like seeing your dad's bar pop off like that?
Last call in Fremont. If you're not here to fucking win, then back the fuck up. We're here to win. We're here to win. We're here to win.
Man, it was good to see.
That's sick, man. How's business been?
It's been good. You know, like I was saying the other day, I was a bit skeptical about the success of an Eagles bar in Seattle, Washington, you know, given the 3,000-mile geographic gap between the places. But it seems like it's worked out pretty well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, anybody from Philly is probably an Eagles fan, and there's a shitload of Philly people in Seattle. So they come here, and it's just fucking awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it looks like people love that place.
Yeah, so you guys went to Broad Street right after the victory, right?
Yeah.
That was the location of the 2018 riot.
Mm-hmm. That shit was crazy, man. It was just, you know, more of the same. People were jumping street lights because the red hand and the yellow box looked like Chiefs colors. People climbing fountains. I think one of the most memorable things though was a cheesesteak argument.
What do you mean?
It was just like arguing about how cheesesteak should be made.
Yo, if God made a cheesesteak, Cooper Sharp, seeded roll. And if you are a fried onions,
not no Philly shit. A cheesesteak from Philly, salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise, fried onions. That's it. Salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise, fried onions. Wait, what? Salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise, fried onions. That's a Philly cheesesteak.
Mayo!
That's a Philly cheesesteak. That's a Philly cheesesteak.
I'm having a heart attack.
That's a Philly cheesesteak.
Mayo!
Oh, no. What you put on your cheesesteak?
You got Cooper? Onions?
That's not a Philly cheesesteak. What she's talking about is not a Philly cheesesteak.
This guy probably puts fucking mustard on his cheesesteak, bro.
Right.
He puts mustard on his cheesesteak, bro.
They put lettuce and tomatoes in a cheesesteak. They not from the beef. They ketchup, mayonnaise, fried onions, right? Of course, all the time. Salt, pepper, ketchup, mayonnaise, fried onions. No cheese whiz.
Cheese whiz and onions.
No cheese whiz.
I'm different.
That's how we do it in Philly. That's the Philly cheesesteak.
Fuck that ass Chiefs, nigga.
Damn, they're not doing much to defeat the Philadelphia stereotypes with that one.
Yeah. All cheesesteaks are good for sure.
Do you feel like you really learned anything out there?
Nah, not really, but I fuck with Philly though.
We are a hardworking town. We are blue collar. We bust our asses every day, and we come home and we want to root on our sports teams. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Go Birds! World champs! Yeah!
Hell yeah.
Channel 5 live worldwide, Hollywood and Vine.
Fuck the authority, Channel 5 News.
Channel 55. We don't fuck with custers. And 5 is the best number.